Do you think any of the people in current BCSO or LSPD command and high command should be removed? And who are those? And why?
Moss and Peters should both be removed. Den and Maxwell should be removed. I think Avery's still a sergeant. I love Avery and I think she's very good at her job, but she has not been around at all. For that reason, she should probably be removed. Not because of her ability to do the job. I want to make that one clear. On Fire, I really like On Fire, but I don't know what she even does as command. I'll be honest. She's a great FTO. She's a great teacher. I don't know what she does as a command member at all. I think she doesn't know how to fill that position and what she should do, and I think she's received no guidance because there's no command around in Shift 2 or High Command that will actually guide her. I think she has potential though, but currently probably shouldn't be command. The BCSO, is there any? I think Bones and Cassidy have done fine in High Commands. I think they've definitely made some mistakes. They are not perfect. I think they've tried to do what they thought was best. And they haven't, and they managed to keep people in the BCSO even when shit's been really hard for us, like having no pay and a bunch of other shit. They still managed to get us to, want to come around and be on duty. I don't know if Cornwood's still high command. I'll be honest. I don't know. I haven't seen that guy in a while. So for inactivity, and if Lucas could replace Cornwood, then I would say Cornwood should be removed and Lucas should be a captain. Trig, I think Trig literally just got his job because he's a yes man. He's not a bad cop, but I don't know why the fuck he's high command. It makes no fucking sense to me. He's just fucking sipping on the Kool-Aid. It's like I don't know, in the LSPD, the more you suck up to people, the higher you go. But Den and Maxwell 100% should be removed from their positions. It actually the whole Hydra raid thing is the prime example of why they should be removed. They had I was there. I documented almost all of the weapons room in there. But I was there before the raid. I was not at the actual ammunition scene. Nakota ejected me out of his car and then ran me over. So I was on the ground and I missed all that. At the hospital afterwards, people came up to me and were asking me for help with it. I didn't know like anything about the situation. I said, like, I literally knew nothing. I was like, if the person that ran in the house went in the ammunition crate and then when you caught them they had no parts on them at all and you had visual of that, then that would be an easy raid. That's about all the advice I gave them, but I didn't know any of the specifics. I said that's like a hypothetical where you could raid somebody if they run into a house and leave. They then for the next 2 hours had about 15 people in the MRPD meeting room. I was there for some of it, but I wasn't contributing at all. I was just watching it. It was the most fucking uncoordinated dog shit thing in the world. Den and Maxwell were asking everybody else for help. They were both working on it, and then I think Den signed the warrant, and then Maxwell signed off on it, but Maxwell was also involved with writing it. And they literally could not articulate probable cause in a fucking search warrant. I don't know how the fuck you can be in a command position and be expected to sign fucking search warrants and subpoenas and everything else if you don't even know how to fucking write one. How the fuck, how can you be a commanding officer and sign a fucking search warrant if you can't even write one yourself? How are you gonna know what to look for? If you don't even know how to fucking articulate probable cause, how are you supposed to sign off on it? It makes no fucking sense. It's no wonder that a justice had to come down and walk them through every fucking step. It's fucking crazy. How do you, if you are a responsible high command and you fucking see that your command members that are below you can't even fucking write a search warrant, why are they still in a command position? Like, well, I mean, I know the answer to that. For the LSPD, it's because they'll do what Moss and Peters want them to do. Both of them should be seniors. They should not be responsible for signing off on search warrants, subpoenas, or even fucking arrest warrants. And I think if there's a conflict, if you're the fucking office, if you're one of the officers working on the search warrant, you should not be the commanding officer that signs it. So I don't know. That shit was not good. I documented the weapons room, there, and I made sure everything in that room got out. Den was like saying he wanted me in charge of making sure things were documented. I made sure everything. And I told Den I'm gonna be focusing on the weapons room because I don't trust most officers in a raid with that much shit. For example, with like the PD armors, I made, or not the PD armor, sorry, the what was it? All of the pistols that were in there, I documented every single one that had a serial number, so legal firearms and like makeshifts. I took a picture of every single makeshift firearm so that all the serials would match up from the pictures to the raid receipt, and everything in evidence. And I did not trust that most officers would do that. I pointed out to other officers where other things were, such as the medical equipment. There was, I think it was Den who opened the, Den unlocked the safe with like the, was like 1.2 million in clean cash. And, I directed people to start taking the money out, and I said on the radio like 5 times, somebody needs to go and get duffel bags. No one did that. I made sure everything was out of the weapons room. Other people said they finished getting shit from the other rooms, and then we left. And then the next day, I get a call from Peters, and he's like, Loki, where's all the money? I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, where's the money? I'm like, I don't know. People were grabbing it. I had 2 people go in to grab it, and he's like, well, it's not there. He's like, where do you think it is? I'm like, well, they probably just didn't grab all of it because people didn't want to go and get duffel bags for some reason. I don't know. And then they went and raided the same house again, which, I'll be real, they tried to get me to go to that raid, and I noped out. I said, nope, not doing it. I don't really know how I feel about raiding a place for a second time without getting another search warrant signed. Might be legal, but I was unsure, and I was not going to be a part of that. And then I don't know why, but I think they believe that they could just keep a house locked down for as long as they want for some reason because there was a bunch of illegal shit in it. Once again, the 2 commanding officers didn't know that if they wanted to do that, they would need to post something on the docket and ask for a preliminary injunction. Well, they'd have to post something for civil asset forfeiture and ask for a preliminary injunction to keep the house locked down until, litigation is finished. They didn't know that either. They literally knew fuck all about the process of one of the biggest fucking raids, probably the biggest raid that the PD's ever done. And the whole thing is fucking flimsy because of that. I don't know how those 2 people could still be in command.
How much influence do you think that the mayor has on the PD?
On the LSPD?
Yes, you can do both. You can mention both.
So, on the LSPD, I think that no major changes are made at all without Nino being involved. They literally, recently, yesterday I saw Moss and Maxwell were at the racetrack for an extended period of time. I didn't go and check out and see what they're doing because I'll be real, nowadays I try to stay away from all the LSPD drama. And then today, I know for a fact that Trig and Moss were with Nino. Nino was in the back of their squad car, and they went. I don't know if they were in the tunnel. They were like on the. I think they were in the tunnel at Mount Chiliad, and they were there for like over an hour. And I know in the past, when I was still in LSPD, I would see Moss and Peters on the GPS at the resort on Great Ocean. And I know Nino was there with them at least one of the times because he 911 that his car had been stolen from the exact location that Moss and Peters were. I think they go to Nino for pretty much everything, and I don't know, it's I would be surprised if almost anything besides very small things happen in the LSPD without Nino being somehow involved. As for BCSO, I mean, Pred basically forced Bones to demote Bruce and Aspen. He wanted them fired because of that warrant situation, and he basically strong-armed Bones into doing it. So Bones ended up demoting both of them, although they were both just promoted again. I think both mayors currently are trying to, and I guess Nino last term, think that they should have way more say over what happens in the PD than what the Constitution actually says. The Constitution just says mayors can appoint people, but for some reason, the mayors just believe that they are like the god kings of the PD, and that the PD should follow in their direction at all time. And it's fucking stupid, and it's hindered the PD in so many ways as a whole. It's just fucking pathetic.